Jay Kornegay is with us now at the Westgate Sportsbook. Thanks for popping on. Let's begin with this, Jay. This morning, when did you? We had the tweet, but if you can specifically say this on the air here now, when did you refund French Open tickets, and when did you set up a new pool for the event?
We refunded the first pool when they announced that they were moving the event from May to September on March 17th. The new pool was set up on June 8th.
Okay. What are the typical rules for an event like the French Open? Location, dates, etc.
Yeah, well, pre-pandemic rules, in this case, we posted the French Open about a week after the Australian Open, and I believe the bet that we were talking about was made on February 1st. So you got to remember, this is pre-pandemic time, and someone saw or predicted that the Earth was going to stop rotating here, and so we had pre-pandemic business as usual rules, and the original pool that was set up right after the Australian Open, which we took bets on all the way until we had to close in early March. We only accepted a handful, maybe a dozen or so tickets on that first original pool. Obviously, everything shut down in mid-March, and that is the time they announced the change of the date, and we had to refund that first pool. But the typical rule is, just like it is for a lot of events, unless it's otherwise noted, which is also in the rules, is that the event, if it doesn't go within 8 days of the scheduled date, is a refund. And this is very typical. It's a very common rule. In fact, it's actually rule number 1 in our rules. But it's the same thing that applied to the Masters. The Masters was also refunded, so I encourage those that bet the Masters early, no matter what book you place your Masters bet at, please check to see if it's a refund or if it's action at this time. But there was a number of books, including us, Circa, others, that have refunded the Masters based off the same rules as we looked at for the French Open.
So that's the answer to the question about NBA and hockey. It's a future versus an event.
Yeah, we talked. I know event is very vague, but I know that there's been a lot of talk of, hey, what about the pro, baseball rules? What about the pro hockey rules? What about the pro basketball rules? Well, those rules are different. Okay, I'll read it off to you as far as, let's just say, the pro baseball futures. It says all bets are action regardless of team relocation or name change. If the 2020 World Series is not played, all bets are refunded. Okay, that's the same thing for pro baseball. The NBA. You got NBA. If the NBA championship is not played, all bets are refunded. But it also says all bets are action despite shortened season. So those are little different rules than you would have with some of these smaller events like tennis tournaments or golf events that have a scheduled date, scheduled dates, and therefore are ruled a little different than just your basic future bet.
All right, it's Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard. Jay Kornegay is with us from the Westgate Sportsbook. Does a sports book have any responsibility to reach out to a bettor in a situation like this to alert them what's going on? Is that possible?
Mitch, listen, all right. We work we do our best to work in a world of transparency. Okay, we want everybody to know the rules. I don't want to be on this call right now. All right, I don't want this dispute to happen. We're not in the business of the gotcha moment. Okay, we try to get it out there. Now, to contact everybody that made a bet on a specific event that was refunded is just unrealistic. Okay? Some of this responsibility happens to be on the bettor to know the rules, or at least inquire or find out the rules if, for whatever reason. The book, in this case, our operation, we went on the air, we went to the airwaves, we went to the local paper, we went to the local radio stations, we went to the local ESPN, we were on VSiN, we went on your shows, okay, to tell everybody, know the rules, because that was a hot topic in this town.
Yes.
For a couple of months about whether, bets were actioned or they were refunded. In fact, the show that follows this one had a guest on last week, Vinny Maggs. All right, love Vinny. He's a good friend, very respected person in the industry, was talking about everybody should know the rules on the show last week. So there is some responsibility on the bettor side to know these rules.
Did he ever reach out to you to come on his show and talk about this?
No. When I found that out, someone asked me about that when I was actually talking to Bill Krackenberger, and I said, hey, let him know, I'm available to go on the show. And, he's had our cell numbers for years now. And listen, I respect the guy. We've been, good associates. We had a good partnership over the years. He's been on our panels. We have a very good relationship. That's why he has my cell number. That's why he has John Murray's cell number. But I'm waiting for that call. And I really wish that would have happened, a couple of days ago, instead of just giving everybody one side of it. Let me give both sides, and then everybody can, voice their opinions off of that.
At any point, did it feel like angle shooting or a shakedown?
People have said that. I don't know. It seems odd to me that someone that would be in this industry and talk about sports gambling at least 5 days a week, that lives in this town, being surrounded by all this information, all these different inquiries. And John Murray, myself, Jeff Sherman, we've answered hundreds of emails over the last few months about people inquiring about the rules and if they had action or not. It just blows my mind that someone in this town, in this industry, talks about this industry, never, asked about the rule or even thought about, or just being prompted to ask that question about his, $1,000 investment. I'm not sure.
Is it
how that happened?
Okay, fair enough. Is it true he reached out regarding other wagers in different sports about are these good or not?
Oh, people have, yes. I mean, we've had a lot of inquiries about that, all the different sports, because we're living in different times. I was told that, next year all these rules are going to change. I said, no, guys, they have already changed. Again, this specific bet was made prior to the pandemic. If you look at the rules now, all right, it's post-pandemic rules, and the windows of action are larger to try to accommodate and deal with any possible scenario that you can think of. And that's why I think, I heard that, well, other books have paid out. And I said, well, I did check with William Hill because that one was mentioned, and they had rules that said whenever played. So they followed their rules. Now, as far as the other ones, I'm not sure if they posted the French Open until after the pandemic started. So we have a history of posting these events early, but I believe that some of these didn't list the French Open until we were well into the pandemic and incorporated the, post-pandemic rules. So I have asked to try to find out what those other books are, but I was told that those were not going to be disclosed at this time.
Are you confident this will be upheld if there's further action? Rules are rules. House rules.
Again, it's very unfortunate. We don't want to be in this situation, talk about this, but yes, gaming has jurisdiction over these matters in Nevada. That's where you go. You don't go to the airways, you go to gaming. And we notified gaming of the possible dispute. We are obligated to do so. But as far as I know, the other party hasn't done that.
So once the rules are changed, and as you said, that happened, you tweeted this out, Jeff did anyway, on March 17th, to go back and then make it good and to pay somebody on a bet like this after the rules have been changed, I mean, you can't do that because, right? Because if that gets out, then what are you looking at that point? I mean, people are going to be coming at you left and right on tickets that they've lost over the years. Am I wrong with that or no?
No, you're right, Mitch. And sometimes we do feel like it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. Because if you just go look at the 8-day rule, okay, people get upset with us for holding their money for 8 days. It's like we're waiting to see if it's rescheduled. We're waiting to see, and people go, well, 8 days seems random. I go, well, the thinking was to give it another week. Okay, so if it's not played within a week, then everybody gets a refund. But we want to give them ample time to reschedule the event, all right, within that week, so everybody can still have action on that event. But, I'm really kind of shocked that, people are so upset that we're just following the rules, okay? And people can say, oh, it's a horrible rule, it's a terrible rule, it's an obscure rule. And I'm like, well, it's not obscure, it's rule number 1, okay? 2, it's not in this fine print because it's all the same print. But I think people should be more upset if we deviated from the rules. If we don't follow rules, then you can come at us. But if we follow the rules, you should be glad that there's structure in place and that the book is following the rules that were in place before any wagers were placed.
Was the girl still 30-1 when you reposted the odds?
Pauly, I believe so, but I don't know for sure. I really don't know. And
okay. For
those that are out there saying, we probably looked at the liability and then decided, they decided that, we were going to lose on this, so we're going to post it as a refund. Again, going back to when we refunded this event, March 17th, that's 7 months ago.
Yep. All right, Jay. Thanks for coming on today. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Follow the money here on VSiN. We'll kick it around next here on the Sports Betting Network.